got to check out Wayne in this episode of Giant TV. I had a chance to chop it up with Wayne. Awesome discussion. Former Navy SEAL, very accomplished career in the military. He's now a leadership coach, thought partner, working with some very dynamic business leaders, executive teams, and so forth. And I really wanted insight into what Wayne is doing, how he does it, the discipline he brings to the process. And I walked away with some incredible insight. You will too. Let's go check it out. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Giant TV. I'm Paul Hitchcock, founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We're helping others to grow and nurture their businesses. Actually, this is our headquarters here in Orange County, California. And really excited for this episode. I have Wayne with me, who's a former SEAL, retired from the military, and now an executive leadership coach, thought partner. Welcome, Wayne.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate the time on the show here.
Yeah, and you and I were talking a bit offline, and you got a lot going on, but I want to jump right into this. First of all, tell me and the listeners here, how did you get into what you're doing? I imagine, obviously, your experience as a SEAL has kind of helped you get into this line.
Sure. Yeah. So after 22, 23 years being in the teams, we're looking for, our exit plan. And my family and I, and something presented itself. They were called the Honor Foundation. It's a former team guy founder that developed this transition program for, the next team guys are going to be exiting the military and helping them land on their feet. So whether that means through, job searches and doing resumes, mock interviews. So we go there. It's a 12-week program, and we learn a lot about what does it mean to successfully land on your feet on the outside. So I went through that program, and they go through a period called finding out what your why is, why it is that you want to do something. And I had to reflect back on all my years of what is it that I enjoyed the most. I knew I didn't want to keep doing a grunt and grind work and not be fulfilled. Right. So what is it that I really want to do? And I found out what made me happy was everything that I did with instructing, mentoring, coaching, helping somebody else who hasn't been there yet, bring them along and see that, that bell go off, say, oh, I get it type thing.
Yeah, because you were doing a lot of that in the military, Wayne, and you were leading teams, and that was a big part of it.
Yeah, as an instructor and mentor in my senior enlisted years, that's a lot of what we did. We helped bring up those that are coming up behind us.
Yeah, very interesting. And then so how did you start out? Because you describe what you're doing now. I know you're connected to some great companies, but what is your focus now?
Right now is trying to give back through a nonprofit organization I found through my team guy network as I was transitioning out, called SWAM. They're Swim with a Mission. They've really grown as well quite a bit in helping out veterans transition out of the military as well and helping them land on their feet, whether they're homeless or they don't have the benefits that they have earned. So there's a lot of different programs now between Swim with a Mission, Bike with a Mission, or Ride with a Mission. There's quite a few of them now. They've been in for about 8 years. There's also another program called Recruiting District Assistance Council. It's a former retired captain 28 years ago developed this candidate program where he brings in candidates for the SEAL program to help screen them and get them up and ready for buds. Oh. He's got a very high, maybe 70-75% success rate, where traditionally bud students have a 70% attrition rate.
Oh, wow.
So they're a very successful program. And throughout the years, I've been helping them out with the candidates and mentoring them. But now I'm back being retired, more full-time with their screening and training. So I'm helping them out as well. In addition, I got myself into leadership coaching.
Yeah.
So I can give back to the community here on this side now, because I've brought a lot of that experience from the military with me. And there's an application, but it's got to be tweaked for the corporate side. Right. We're not coaching, military personnel. So there's a unique approach to that.
How do you approach it on the private side? You are you working with both the owners of the company, the teams, and what are you exactly doing when you get in there?
Yeah, so there's no limits. It's based on their needs. Who would benefit from leadership training? Most of them are those that are just coming into the company that are new,
Hmm.
or those that are elevating to a more promoted position.
Yep.
So they kind of figure out the who and when and how often.
Yeah.
So the approach is knowing that I'm not, addressing the military personnel. I can't say that I have an institutionalized mind from the military. I went in late at 27, 28 years old. So I have kind of lived a life beforehand. I kind of know how the world worked. And I know that I just need to shift my perspective to take all those leadership traits and apply them to the civilian side instead of
Hmm.
the military.
Hmm. Are you when you're working with companies, are there some common areas where you see that these leaders have challenges? Like what are the issues they're trying to deal with?
Yeah, one of the big ones is communication. So a lot of them are in their own shell doing their job, and they don't realize the impact or effect that they have on the other aspects of the company. So the efficiency of the work of the system that they have within the company working together is kind of broken down or slowed down, or there's behaviors that are impacted by that inefficiency, and it doesn't build. It kind of becomes like a toxic culture,
Oh yeah.
and to get out of that toxic culture, it behooves them to kind of, one, come across in a better leadership perspective. So some of the traits you'd want to think about is, systems thinking, right? Having a larger mindset of how things work and interact with each other instead of, just your own uh, silo of work that you're in.
Right.
Get outside of yourself and be aware, and be of service to others. Trying to lead with empathy is huge right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
People are so self-absorbed typically in what they need to do and getting their job done and checking the boxes on their tax and then leaving work. They never thought that, what was my impact on these people that I work with throughout the day? Did I
Yeah.
give them the time that they needed? Did I answer the question they wanted to? Did they walk away with a different, you know, answer than I gave them based on their reception of me? So
Mhm.
having that empathy and understanding where they're coming from, what is it that they need, really opens up a new door to building relationships and working a little bit more holistically with the company.
Do you find that when you're getting involved with a company that they already know what the problems are and they're coming to you, or is it you working with them to flesh out things they might not even be aware of? Like, how does that initial engagement go?
Yeah, typically it's a combination of both. So they see a need for some reason, right? There's some things they've already identified, and they bring it up in the beginning, like, I'll get an outline. These are the things that we're looking to work on. And I'll take those things, I'll build out an outline, and initially I'll provide maybe a leadership consulting class, right? I
Yeah,
take
yeah.
off my coaching hat, put on the consulting, and I provide that as a baseline to them, things to become aware of. Self-awareness is a huge thing just to start off.
Oh
And
yeah.
then we build on all of that. And then as I'm going through and I'm working on the one-on-one leadership coaching, I'm picking out more. So when I was going through that last company I was with, that it was more of a holistic view I gained, almost like an organizational culture I was picking up on based on what that individual's needs and concerns and problems were, and this individual over here and their needs, concerns, and problems. And you
Right.
saw a common thread, or you saw something just unique unto themselves, and you start connecting the dots. And when
Hmm.
that starts happening, you start picking up, okay, well, this also needs to be addressed and worked on holistically with the whole company, not just this person or this person. Because again,
Hmm.
it goes back to awareness, right? You can't
Hmm.
change anything about yourself or be a part of a larger change without having that awareness.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that when you're starting to deal with these human beings that you're helping, is you've got to get buy-in before the issues can be resolved, especially, and maybe obviously, if the issues are new that you're bringing to the table as opposed to ones they already know they have. But if they're new issues you're uncovering, you see problems, you've got to get their buy-in. Isn't that true? Because otherwise, to me, it would seem like, oh, this guy's just telling us what a problem is, and I don't agree with him, and then you're going down this path. So Is that a fair statement? And how do you get the buy-in?
It is a fair statement. First of all, the coaching, I treat it with the highest of confidentiality. So no one individual is exposed and dirtying their airing their dirty laundry out to hire through me. That's not happening.
Yeah.
All I do is I grab those common threads and I bring it to hire as a post coaching review quarterly, say every 3 months or so. And I say, these are the things that I'm finding. These are the things that we're working on generally throughout the whole organization. Even though
Hmm.
they just may be like 3 or 4 people here, they may be touching, those concepts are touching somewhere within the organization, may be causing a problem that
Yeah.
you don't see on the outside. It's all internal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're made aware of it and they're like, I'm getting feedback from them, which is my progress loop, if you will. As I'm
Hmm.
getting their feedback, I see where their priorities are, or based on their, mannerisms, I have to determine, was that a good thing to stay and focused on and move forward, or am I going to draw back on that and reprioritize these other things that I see are keep getting brought up?
Yeah, you gotta be a good reader of people in
Yes.
your position. I would imagine, like you just said, that's interesting. You said through their body language and signals. Yeah, because they may not be telling you everything, but you can pick up on some nuance there. Uh, but I mean, do people really open up to you the rank, not the rank and file, maybe management or whatever, when there obviously is a leadership dividing line there because you got management employees, but do people really open up and feel confident in expressing maybe some challenging issues they're dealing with? You can pull
Sure.
that out of
And
them, yeah?
yeah, a lot of it has to do with my ability to do that with them, and that's on
Yeah,
me, right?
yeah, yeah,
So, um, for the longest time since I was a kid, I've always paid a lot of attention to human behaviors. I found it interesting, people watching, right? And
yeah,
they're all languages, spoken and unspoken. So it's really on me to draw them into a place of, being relaxed, being comforted, and building trust right off the bat.
right.
So sharing some of my own vulnerabilities with them help them say, okay, this is a two-way, confidential period of time, just him and I. And
Yeah,
I can unload. And sometimes those first sessions are just a dump session.
yeah.
So, active listening is extremely important there. Letting them
Hmm.
know that they are being heard, replying with open-ended questions that are, consistent with the dialogue that they've started. And
Yeah,
so that all kind of builds that new relationship. So yeah, that's a very fair statement to say, how we bring them into the fold so they feel comfortable enough to kind of be vulnerable and open to kind of provide that information, but it helps me build um, kind of a pattern to see everybody else doing the exact same thing. What are the underlying concerns of people within an organization? Is it personal? Is it something related at home? Is it organizational oriented or a combination? Each position's unique within the company, each
yeah.
individual.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people are so dynamic. Yeah, it could be a combo of all those things. So you're part therapist, I would imagine. You
Well,
know,
I make that clear too. This is not a therapy session. I don't go, peeling back the layers of the onion. I don't do
right.
that. And I make that known too up front.
You don't ask
So
them, how's the marriage going at home, by the way?
I may ask how their counterpart is, but it generally stays there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you measure your results? And when you're working with a company, I know it's not a forever thing. And so what are you looking at to see how effective things are going?
Well, there are multiple types of tests out there you can provide episodically where they take it in the beginning and then they come back maybe 3 months later and you provide that assessment test again and see what the answers look like and you kind of do a comparison. But most of all, what I find on the personal level is, coaching is not like consulting. And the differentiation is consulting, I'm bringing my experience and know-how to you. In coaching, I'm helping whittle it out of you. And
Hmm.
I'm doing that through very targeted, open-ended questions relative to not just what we're talking about, but where we want to go. What does it say that you want to accomplish?
Yeah,
And slowly unfold that and saying, you've got the answers already. And I'm going to show you that you have the answers.
yeah,
So how we walk that dog, so to speak, over time kind of tells me what type of progress are we making? Am I going down the right path with them? Am I asking the right open-ended questions? Are they afraid of going down a certain path because it'll be brought up and they change the direction of the conversation quickly. You know,
Yeah.
these are the things that I have to pick up and assess over time to see how much progress are we making. And it's not linear by any
Hmm.
means. There are those that'll get right there and pick up the ball and run with it and come back and do their own self-reflection. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? They're really getting this. They understand the process and they're doing the homework.
That's
And then
great.
the other ones are just there relying on what can I give them? And usually it's, oh, I never thought about it that way before. And that's like the perfect response for me. I'm like, okay, we're on to something here.
Yeah.
Because this coaching is about getting you who's stuck in something somewhere, you can't get to where you say you want to go and you don't know why, is you're shifting your perspective.
Hmm.
And that's what's needed. And it's on me to be able to gauge, is that perspective shift the right one per where you say you want to go?
Yeah. Yeah. And I imagine that you're a great resource for the owners of the business too, because you're someone that they can take issues to that they cannot take to management. You know, they don't want to take them to their spouse at home or whatever. And so it could be lonely for them. You come along and they're like, God, this is great. I can just be open and honest, you know. I would imagine that's part of it too.
Yeah, I can only imagine it's very helpful in that respect for them.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, this is great. I want to tell everyone listening too that I'm going to have Wayne's information, get connected to Wayne up around this video, wherever you're watching this, because we simulcast this everywhere, YouTube, LinkedIn, and great guy to know. Wayne, really interested in tracking your progress. Thanks for being on here. This is great.
No, thank you, Paul. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to kind of share the story. So thank
Totally.
you.
All right. We'll talk again.
All right. Take care.
All right.